Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at what really feels like a dangerous game of silence from Nikon.
It does. We've been looking at all these rumors and market analyses, and there are two, just glaring holes in their camera lineup.
And the silence on these specific gaps is getting, well, pretty loud, isn't it?
It really is. And this isn't just about, gear lust or photographers wanting a shiny new toy. The data shows this is about workflow. It's about workflow architecture.
So Nikon did a great job stopping the bleed with the Z8 and Z9 for the high-end pros.
Oh, absolutely. But in doing so, they've left these two massive vacuums. There's no successor to the legendary D500, and there's no real update to the Z7 series.
That D500 gap is the one I hear about constantly. So, okay, our mission for this deep dive is to map these rumored cameras, the Z90 and the Z7 third, directly to your needs.
I like that. We've sort of broken this down into two personas based on the leaks.
Exactly. We have the reach specialist and the resolution architect. So if you fall into one of those buckets, we're going to try and answer whether you should keep waiting or finally move on.
Good framing. Let's start with the reach specialist. This is the one that addresses that D500 void, or what all the forums are calling the Z90.
Okay, so this is for the listener who's living past 400 millimeters, right?
Absolutely.
Wildlife, sports.
Aviation, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The people who are looking at the current Z50 and just thinking,
This is a toy.
it's harsh, but it's fair. The Z50 just isn't built for that kind of demanding action. The Z90 rumors, though, they're all converging on a 33 megapixel APS-C sensor.
Which is a huge jump. And for anyone wondering why you'd want a smaller sensor instead of full frame, it's that whole pixels per duck argument. It turns the crop factor into a real optical advantage, doesn't it?
Exactly right. You put a 500 millimeter lens on this sensor, and it frames up like a 750. But, and this is the key, because of 33 megapixels, you can still crop again in post without the image just falling apart.
It's about getting closer without buying a bigger, heavier lens.
That's it. And the speed backs that up. We're seeing leaks of 15, maybe 20 frames per second with that Speed 7 processor. It's starting to sound like a baby Z9.
With things like dual card slots and oversampled 4K 60 video.
Yeah, but here's where the rumors get really interesting for me, the stabilization. The leaks are pointing to 6, maybe even 7 stops of in-body image stabilization. IVUS.
Which is extremely rare for an APS-C body. I mean, they usually cut that to save cost or size.
They do, but for this specific user, it's critical. Just think about it. You're hand-holding a 500 millimeter equivalent lens at dusk. Any shake is magnified.
And that IBIS is the difference between a sharp shot and a blurry mess.
If Nikon includes that, they basically win the entire segment. Full stop.
There is a catch, though, isn't there? The release window seems to be drifting.
Unfortunately, yes. We're looking at mid-2026, so if you're holding out for this, you are definitely playing the long game.
Okay, let's pivot to our second persona then, the resolution architect. This is the Z7 third. And this feels less like a rumor and more like an inevitability.
It's basic physics, right? It has to happen. This is for the listener who needs fidelity over frame rates. The landscape shooter printing at gallery scale.
Or the studio photographer. And the expectation here is a sensor pushing toward 60 megapixels.
And driven by dual Speed 7 processors.
2 processors? That sounds like overkill if you're not shooting sports. Why do you need that much horsepower just for a landscape?
Well, because high-res files are heavy. Moving 60 megapixels of data needs massive bandwidth. But more importantly, at 60 megapixels, your margin for error is 0.
A tiny focus error becomes a huge problem.
It becomes unforgivable. You need that dual processor power to drive Z8-level AI subject tracking, just to make sure that all that resolution is actually usable.
And I'm guessing that extra power also unlocks the rumored 8K video and the internal 12-bit NRAW.
It does, which makes the estimated price tag around $3,500 to $3,800 pretty aggressive. It undercuts the Z8, but offers higher resolution.
So let's wrap this up with a verdict. If I'm listening and my current gear is holding me back, what's the move?
Okay, if you're the reach specialist and you are losing jobs today because your autofocus can't keep up, don't wait for a 2026 rumor. Maybe look at a used Z8.
But if you have a D500 that's still working...
Then hold on. The Z90 really does seem to be the only true successor coming.
And for the resolution architect.
The Z7 feels imminent. It feels logical. If you don't need the Z8's bulk, I think waiting makes a lot of sense. You'll save some cash and get a better sensor for your specific work.
So it seems like Nikon is refining its roadmap, not abandoning it.
True. But the real question is whether your patience can last as long as their development cycle.
Something to think about while you're out shooting. That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.